I don't know.
What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 6 NFL preview and picks. As always, Ethan is joining me to break down this week's games. But before we get into it, subscribe to our channel where we'll be doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers.
Yeah, it's good to be back, man. It was a good week last week, especially for you going 10-4. Out of your What do you think the best game was in that noon slate? What were your thoughts on that? And just give me your overall thoughts.
I mean, probably best game was probably the Houston Atlanta just because of the ending. It was pretty boring though for the first three quarters, but the last drive where Stroud had a game-winning drive ripped away by a Desmond Ritter game-winning drive. Then the
Mhm.
Miami game, obviously a great game just because Miami can put up points. But if you really want to talk about a good gritty defensive game, then you got to go Steelers and Ravens just because a typical AFC North matchup. But I'd say all three of those games were probably the best to watch.
All right, so
All right, so
let's
that
get
means
into it.
we're going to the next slide here, I guess. So that means we got our week 5 locks of the week. I went 4-1 and Ethan 3-2. So we still came out positive. So we're not saying parlay all these. We're just saying these are the ones that you'd probably want to go for. Worked
Right.
out well for me last week. The Packers Raiders game obviously hit the under. And then yours, Bills lost and the Rams just couldn't cover. But other than that, pretty solid so far for us. I'm right there at 66% this year and you're at 60. So it's still pretty good for a betting
Yep.
standpoint. And then this is what we got this week. And I'll start it here. Washington, Atlanta under. I think Atlanta, they win games like last week. They don't score a lot. Their defense comes out and they perform. And this is at home in Atlanta where Ritter does perform. The Vikings Bears game, I think the Bears covered that. Niners, yeah, it just went up to 8.5 because more than likely Watson isn't going to play, but I don't think that matters. I mean, we saw what the Niners did to the Cowboys. Panthers, I do think the Panthers cover in this one. I saw a stat where they haven't, I can't remember what it was, but I think the Dolphins haven't covered a certain amount of games in a row in like previous seasons, and I think the Panthers have covered. I think
Huh.
it's double digit games when they're double digit favors against the spread. They cover those, and then I'm going to Detroit and Tampa over, which actually got reduced a point and a half since I looked last time. Now it's 42 and a half, and I think if Detroit wins this game, it is going to be probably a 24-21 game. Wait, that gets you over 42. So I think it's gonna
Yes.
be that kind of game. I think it's going to be just over, but it does hit the over.
Yeah, and for my locks, I'm gonna go with Denver, Kansas City under. I think it's gonna be a closer game. I still think, as you can see, I still got the Chiefs covering because that's not a huge spread, especially at home. And then I got the Bears +3. That's a great matchup for Chicago. Been playing better football lately. And then Seattle, I think is the better team overall. You're getting +2.5 there. And then New England, don't really know what you're gonna get out of New England. But I just think they're gonna play a good enough defense and be able to stifle the Raiders offense to make that a very low scoring game. And I think they'll pull it out there.
And then we have both of our favorite teams here on a bye. Obviously, my Packers and your Steelers,
Right.
and kind of in the same boat, really. Obviously, you guys are 3-2, we're 2-3, and I really couldn't ask for much better because the expectations really were slim to none for the Packers, just depending on love.
Right.
But hopefully, come out of the bye, get a few wins, float around 500, and be a wild card team. Because let's be honest, the Lions probably are going to run away with the NFC North at some point in the season, and that's why I'm just kind of hoping that it's going to be a wild card season for us.
Yeah, and for the Steelers, I mean that offense has been terrible, and hopefully they will take an extra week to get that going a little bit. And I'm sure everyone saw the Matt Canada with the video on the offensive coordinator. Just not a good look there, and I hope he gets fired as a Steelers fan. But still 3-2, top of the AFC North, so it's a good start going into the bye. And like Coach Tomlin said, they're just here to win games.
Then we'll start with tonight's game, which you guys will probably know the result of when this video is posted. Chiefs, Broncos, and obviously we're both going with the Chiefs here at home. Kelsey's gonna play, and the Chiefs are at full strength for the first time, I guess, in a while, it feels like. And if there's anything for sure in this one, it's that the Chiefs have a run game, and that's what makes this team even better. And I think if they would have figured out how to run the ball better in week 1 against the Lions, they're probably sitting here 5-0. And then you got the Broncos, which, that's why I didn't put the 10.5 here. I think the Broncos could lose by 10 in this one, and that half point is killer. Just because
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has played well this year, it's just his defense has let them down. And even with 4 turnovers last week, they still had a chance to win this game against the Jets. So I think the Broncos are going to put up some points, and I do like that over as well. But, Mahomes and company, he's never lost to the Broncos. Obviously, I got to go with the Chiefs here.
Yeah, definitely going with the Chiefs as well. I like Pacheco anytime touchdown. It feels like any running back that plays the Broncos is just going to go off. So I got Pacheco. Even McKinnon might score, but maybe a Kelsey touchdown as well. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining game. I think it's gonna they might keep it close. Like you said, that 10 point, that extra half point is huge, and it's a great line. So yeah, we'll keep it there. So
Then we'll move it to Sunday
yeah,
games and at 9:30.
because I'm busy.
And then we'll move it to the Sunday morning games at 9:30, it should say AM, is Ravens Titans. And this is a game that really matters to both these teams, not just because record wise early in the season, but because of the AFC opponent record in case there were some tiebreaker scenarios end of the year in the wild card. I'm going with the Ravens here on the road. I think they got a rebound after last week's debacle in the fourth quarter. They should have won that game in Pittsburgh, but they just decided to not catch balls when they had to, fall down, stumble, turnovers, and they really just shot themselves in the foot in that one. And I think they got a rebound here in a big way. And I think the quarterback play matters in this one just because the defense is kind of equal out. So I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens as well, and that stuff usually happens in the fourth quarter with Lamar against Pittsburgh as of lately. I mean, I watch every game, and it feels like that's what it looks like more often than not. With a defensive game, and there's a lot of turnovers by that Ravens offense. So they got to get back on track here. I think they're a better team, and Titans don't have nearly as good of a defense as Pittsburgh. So I think they'll be able to move the ball well and play good defense and end up with the win this week.
And then moving to the 1 o'clock slate, Commanders, Falcons. I briefly mentioned it earlier. Ritter's good at home, and that's how I think they win this game.
Yeah, definitely. You said a crazy stat. I don't remember the stat, but it never lost in college or in the NFL at home. So gonna roll with it, man. Bijan Robinson as well.
And then in a game where we're both actually taking the upset, Bears at home over the Vikings. And I think the Bears have more going for them right now than the Vikings do. Obviously, Vikings are taking a big step back from last year. Cousins could be traded, maybe Jefferson. I mean, who knows what's going to go on with this Vikings team over the next few weeks. And the Bears, well, if Fields can play how he has the last 2 games, then I think this Bears team can win and get back into the playoff hunt. I guess it might be not too far-fetched just because it is still early in the season. But if they win this game at home, it's a big step forward in Fields' career. And, the Bears probably won't get too much crap on Twitter.
Yeah, I love the pick here with the Bears, but I could just see, the Bears always seem to end up losing these type of games where it seems like the momentum's going back towards Chicago's way after a really good second half a couple weeks back, and then a pretty good game by the offense last week. So I'm gonna take the Bears, but I'm cautious there. That Minnesota -3 on the road is crazy to me. I think Vegas might know something that we don't know.
And then in a big game for both of these teams, obviously Bengals because they're still fighting to claw back to 500. Seahawks coming out of the bye, looking to build off a strong start. And I'm going with the Bengals here at home. I just think last week's performance wasn't a fluke, and I know it was against the Cardinals. The Bengals, that seemed like they were back in touch. Everyone was clicking right there, and they didn't even have T. Higgins. And if Higgins does intend to play this game, that's another key piece that the Seahawks are going to have to try to stop. But if the Bengals win this game, it's because they stopped K9, Kenneth Walker up front. If they can stop him, then I think they get that win.
Yeah, I agree with you there with the K9 unit, but I disagree. I think the Seahawks will be able to run the ball, and their corners are really good as well over in Seattle. So I think that they might be able to clamp up Jamar Chase enough to Tyler Boyd as well. So I gotta take the Seahawks. They're just a better team, and they're not even favored in this game, which is surprising to me. So I gotta take them.
And then in what should be a blowout are the Niners going out on the road to face the Browns. And it's kind of hard to bet against Brock just because he's never lost in the regular season. Now 10-0 as a regular season starter. And Deshaun Watson, very questionable, kind of trending towards doubtful starting in this game. So got to go with the Niners here on the road. And McCaffrey's going to score a 16th straight touchdown.
Yeah, he definitely will, and that's almost a lock at this point. And I saw it wasn't the line 5.5 a couple days
Mhm.
ago, so that jumped up. So yeah, I'm with this. I'm with the Niners as well. I don't know. I feel like there's a world where Cleveland can make it close. I don't know. It's just you just can't bet against the Niners here.
And then in a game where I think you didn't really expect the Texans to be this good in week 6 already against the Saints. And I'm still going to go with the Saints here on the road, but I think this is probably the biggest coin flip game of the week. And I just like the experience here from Derek Carr and his team around him. Yeah, it's a group of veteran guys with some good key young additions. But for me, the Saints just find ways to win these games. And, Derek Carr is a good regular season quarterback. So when it's all said and done, the Saints here are going to walk away with victorious.
I'm gonna take the Texans here. I was. I agree. This is a coin flip. I could go either way on this one. I think Texans at home been playing good football, just good defense. CJ Stroud's been playing well, and I think they're gonna force some turnovers from Derek Carr, and I think Texans are gonna end up winning this one. A really close game, and I bet you this is gonna be the best game of this 1 o'clock slate. Surprisingly.
And then you have Colts, Jaguars, a game to decide the AFC South. And the big storyline, obviously, Richardson out 4 to 8 weeks with the AC joint sprain. And that means Minshew Mania is taking over Indianapolis. And historically, these last 5 years, the Jaguars have had the Colts number. And this is not one of those games where the Colts really need this win. And the Jaguars are just kind of just playing to play. This is a very meaningful game. Jaguars at home. Lawrence is going to have another great game coming off of a good performance last week. And I think the Jaguars cover as well.
Yeah, I think the Jags are going to cover as well, but Minshew coming back, you never know. There could be some Minshew magic. Um, but no, I'm going to pick the Jags. I think just they finally figured it out a little bit last week with the big win, and I think they're going to keep it rolling this week.
And a blowout should be expected in this one, but as you saw my locks, I don't think it's going to happen. Miami is going to get what they want and win this one, but I think Carolina gets a garbage time touchdown to cover. And, it's kind of hard to stop this offense. And maybe Chase Claypool will actually have an impact here in Miami than he has in his last two franchises.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much on that one, but I think the Dolphins are going to win. I think they're going to cover as well. The Panthers don't seem to have any capability of wanting to win or anything like that. So until they show some fight, I gotta roll with the hot team in Miami.
Then moving to the 4 o'clock games, Patriots, Raiders, and if the Patriots lose this game, Belichick might be out as the GM and coach, or just the GM or something, because it hasn't worked here these last 2 years. But I think that is something like that's going to happen. The pieces are going to start moving. Raiders get this win at home. Jimmy G has another decent game, and the defense yet again carries the Raiders to another win.
I think the Patriots are going to win here on the road. It's just it's going to be a dogfight. The last game ended in one of the wackiest plays to end the game in NFL history. So I think the Patriots got a little bit more fight in them. I got to roll with the coach I trust more, and that defense I trust more. So I'm going with the Patriots.
And then you have a huge NFC game, Lions, Bucks. This is a game I think where both these teams are looking to prove to the media and the nation that they aren't just off to a hot start. They are a legit team. And I think the Lions are more capable for this game. But I think Baker does ball out in this one as well. I think it'll be, like I said, 24-21, could be around that. It's going to come down to a last minute, last second drive even for the Lions to win this one. I think they squeak it out there, but it should be a very good game.
I'm with you. I think it'll be a close game. It's going to come down to the final minutes, and I think the Lions, just the better team, and the Bucks have looked great though, and hoping for a huge Mike Evans day. but I think the Lions will squeak this one out, and it's going to be a battle. Both teams, like you said, are looking to really make an impact this year in the playoffs and make the playoffs. Obviously, for the Buccaneers, at least. Man, I had them at 1-16.
Yeah, that's not looking too good right now.
No.
And the 1-16 team might be these Arizona Cardinals. And after that Cowboys win, I thought, okay, maybe this team's going to show us something at Cincinnati. And they kind of laid an egg in this one, but this one means more because it is an NFC West matchup. And I think the Rams here get to 500, get a win. This Puka and Cup duo is going to be pretty scary and tough to stop. And now that they have a ground game in Kyron Williams, I think this Rams team is still flying under the radar here and could possibly even win. Well, I guess not win the NFC West because I forgot the Niners were there, but get the second best record out of the NFC West if they can steal one from Seattle again.
Yeah, they definitely could. They have the pieces. Stafford's been slinging it around, and now that Cup's back and fully back in it, I think it's going to be an explosive offense. I think the Rams are going to win it at home here, and I think they're gonna go off here on offense this week. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, and the Rams are going to win it.
And this one is Eagles Jets. Eagles go on the road here, beat the Jets. I don't think the Jets obviously have a chance, but I just don't think the Eagles slow down and the Jets can keep up. I mean, it's pretty simple explanation here. I just don't know how the Jets offense can keep up with the Eagles if they can just put it on them early.
Yeah, and especially with that fourth, if they're anywhere on the goal line, it's a fourth down. They need to pick up a yard. They have the perfect play, the QB sneak, and especially with that added on with just a way better team, Zach Wilson and that Jets offense, they can't score more than like 24 points. So it's got to be a 20. If the Jets are going to win this game, it's got to be like 24-20, and they got to really create some pressure on the defensive side. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Eagles are going to win.
Then moving to Sunday Night Football. Not much to be said here. Daniel Jones is trending to miss this game. Saquon's trending to be back. Buffalo's going to win big in this one. The Bills are cooking right now. And even after last week's, tough first three quarters, they showed to me in the fourth quarter that, maybe they were just a little jet lagged and had to get going, get back in it. I think last week's game kind of was a fluke-ish performance, but, as I mentioned, the fourth quarter, they really showed out. So I'm not too concerned here for Buffalo, and I think they're going to get a big win.
Yeah, this is a rough Sunday night football scene. I think Bills should blow them out here and maybe even cover that 14.5. The Giants just can't score, and the Buffaloes look good, especially with the defense. And yeah, Josh Allen's gonna have a big game Sunday night.
Then moving to Monday Night Football, I want to say this is a must-win game for both of these teams here early in the season. Obviously, Cowboys blown out against the Niners last week. And then the Chargers coming out of the bye week, 2-2. I think it's a decent start, but if they want to assert their dominance in the AFC and let teams know that they are for real, they got to go against this top five defense, show them how it's done. And I think they can. It's just a matter of who's going to be the number two target besides Keenan Allen, because Mike Williams is obviously done for the year. Is it going to be Eckler? Are they going to use him out of the backfield more and maybe put him out wide? It's just going to be interesting to see now that he's fully healthy coming back into this matchup, what the Chargers do.
Yeah, I think the Chargers. Actually, I think this is going to be one of the best games of the week. I mean, it's just really entertaining. I feel like it's going to be really entertaining. A top five defense, a top five offense clashing, and I got to take the Chargers here. If it's a really close game and the Cowboys don't separate early, I think the Chargers will win the game. But if the Cowboys get ahead a couple scores, then I don't think the Chargers will win. So I'm going to take the Chargers at home. I trust Justin Herbert in that offense, not the coach, but the offense.
And that's going to be it for our week 6 preview and picks. Come back next week to see how we did and as we break down the games next week. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.
Peace.